the sudden obsession is coming from a deeper rooted place.
In what sense?
The fact that Liverpool lost this weekend, Shels lost this weekend. You need something to cling to.
Yeah, maybe.
Emotionally.
Maybe. I've been sending you stuff about Shaqiri for the past 3 weeks and you keep telling me he's a dusty baller.
Well, he is.
So it's not like it's just spawned out of nowhere.
Well, I believe it has.
I believe you're a psychopath. So who's to say I'm wrong and you're right? Vice versa.
Vice versa, yeah.
I said, hey, yeah. I feel like I've startled you there.
No, I think...
Get rid of these pens. He plays messy desktop, Karen. What are you doing?
Fuck's sake.
We're here on a Wednesday evening. Before, I suppose this is rolling, is it?
It's rolling, yeah.
We're here on a Wednesday evening before
rolling.
Arsenal, I think, inevitably lose to PSG. Following a Champions League classic last night, Kieran, and we'll get into that and more. Kieran's brought up Shels already, so we will talk about the League of Ireland. Bohs, I think Chelsea beating Liverpool, you want to talk about that as well, don't you?
Of course I do.
And the Champions League last night, Kieran, before we get into it all, how are you?
I'm feeling quite rested, to be honest. I think I had the flu last week, and I don't know. Like, I just felt really run down last week. I don't know if the change of the weather or whatever, but weather's lovely again. It's a beautiful day, Adam.
It is a beautiful day.
How are you?
Good. I'm like yourself. We plan on doing these things every Monday or Tuesday, but life's just life, isn't it? It's hard to kind of get together. I'm going to play snooker after.
I honestly feel
what
it's
you
a
hear,
good time to do it though, because the Champions League for me is the bread and butter of what's going on at the moment, and it's good to get at least one game to talk about in the week, because it's incredible.
And what a game it was, Kieran. What a game it was. Have we seen the likes of that in recent times? Yeah, Champions League is my kind of bread and butter as well. It's my favourite is Champions League football, generally speaking.
The only tie I think comes close to it is Man City against Madrid a few years ago.
Okay.
I think that was really, really good. Over 2 legs. The one where Benzema scores in the Etihad, I think it makes it 3-1 or something.
Yeah.
And Madrid come back. Rodrigo scores twice in the 90th minute. I think that was a class game. But that's the only one I can think of that comes close. And this was a 7-6, I think, record on aggregate.
Yeah, I believe so. I think I think back to the 2019 season, 2018-19 season when Spurs had a comeback and obviously Liverpool had a comeback. That's the last time I can remember. Obviously, it's different when you're kind of involved in it in that vein. Of really kind of feeling it to an extent. But last night was like an out of body experience. Like, what a game! Genuinely, I can't remember a game as good as that since maybe the World Cup final. Argentina and France a couple of years ago.
Well, just some of the performances were incredible. Like Sommer in goal pulled off. We watched the highlights over 2 legs. He pulled off some unbelievable saves over 2 legs.
Yeah,
I think he was one of the standout performers. And then you had Yamal, who was doing incredible things with the ball. Of the likes we haven't really seen dribbling wise, I would say, since Messi.
yeah, it's an incredible, like, there's a lot of talk about Ballon d'Or, right? And people were saying Rafinha win the Ballon d'Or had Barcelona won the Champions League. I think there was a lot of pressure on Mo Salah to win the Champions League to kind of cement himself as a Ballon d'Or candidate. But I think Lamine Yamal is probably the best pound for pound player in the world right now. I don't think anyone gets close to him at the minute.
Well, you could just tell, but yesterday, and I think yesterday they had 3 or 4 men on him because they learned their lesson from the first leg.
Yeah.
Where they had DeMarco up against him on his own for the first 45, and he got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, he got rinsed
in the first half.
Yeah.
And everything goes through him. You seen that? Everything goes through him at that right side. They really heavily depend on him. And Rafinha helps him out on the left when they are doubling up on him. But I generally think he's one of the best players. I can confidently say that we've one of the best players in the world. I don't want to say that we've ever seen because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very young to say that.
But he's definitely, I think, the heir to the throne, maybe.
Sorry, just hearing your microphone. Here's a stat I seen this morning. So last night he had 10 successful dribbles out of 21. I think that was the stat. Brennan Johnson, for example, for Spurs, has had 17 successful dribbles all season. So I know we're talking about two very separate players here, but I think the art of being a winger is kind of like we've talked about. Like Guardiola's ruined football quite a lot, but the art of being a winger, in his sense, feels like a real genuine art. Whereas now everyone's kind of you love to talk about systems, you love to talk about kind of no individuality. Lamine Yamal has that in spades, and he was unbelievable last night. He was unbelievable in the first leg, particularly. You are right in saying that they kind of trebled up on him, to be fair. But every time he got the ball, like he hits the post, doesn't he? Sommer makes a great save in extra time. That save in extra time, I think, is as good as a save over the two legs over the season we've seen, because from where we're at watching the telly, when he gets that on his left foot and he curls it, you're like, oh, that's in. It's like I was nearly jumping out of the sofa looking at it. But yeah, truly, if he keeps this up, he'll definitely be one of the best we'll see in our time.
Well, just on that, Adam, players like him make the game exciting to watch, because even the way Inter go about dealing with him is interesting, and it makes the game interesting to watch. So when I speak about that individuality, that's exactly what I want to see in a football match. And those two ties were electric. And I think he made them, if I'm honest. He made them what they were.
Yeah.
But I have to say, give my plaudits as well to Dumfries. And I thought Bastoni as well is a great centre back to watch.
Bastoni's probably one of the best centre halves in the world, if not, arguably the best.
And he loves a pull of the shoulder, but he's great at doing it. He doesn't overdo it.
The Italians, man, they know what they're doing, don't they, defensively? Barca, on the other hand, you said something to me before we recorded. It's where we got the coffee. We were talking about how you didn't think they were any great shakes. You were kind of like, I'm not really into this Barcelona side. I disagree. I'm very much into them. But why is that? Why are you not into them?
I just think they're a bit of a glamour club. I think they live off their past reputation. I honestly, I rate the manager. I think the manager's done a great job to get them to where they even got a semi-final. I rate Yamal. I think without Yamal they wouldn't even have got close to Inter.
Yeah.
I don't rate the whole team. I think Lewandowski is too old for me. He's 35 or 6. Then in the midfield, I like Pedri, I like Almo, but from the back line, like Eric Garcia, Martinez, I don't really rate those players.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's anywhere near the Barca side of Pep Guardiola's era, for example. And I think genuinely they got to this semi-final based on the reputation and based on the individual quality, I would say, of Yamal.
I don't know. I kind of, and I didn't say it downstairs because I thought it'd be good to say it now. I don't want to contradict you when I say this, but I actually think this Barcelona side has probably been the best in Europe all season. I like the game against Madrid the other week, the Clasico.
A complete side though.
I know, but going forward, they're ravenous. They're so good going forward. Rafinha's been unbelievable. Yamal, the likes of Almo, Pedri, like De Jong in midfield. He's someone who gets a lot of stick. He's a bit of a passenger at times. I'm not his biggest fan, but last night, and even the first leg, I thought he was really, really good. Pedri is doing what Pedri's always done since he's come onto the scene. Almo, I think, is such an efficient player.
I actually really like Frankie de Jong. He's one I do like.
Koundé at right back, really, really good. The rest of the team are kind of a bit like Chesney in goal, not great. I do agree with you. Martinez and Garcia at the back, again, no great shakes. But I think there's there's a lack of great centre halves anyway. So I don't think taking them out is the biggest thing to do. But yeah, and just lastly on Inter, the heist of the century. The absolute Italian Job. I don't know if anyone's seen the movie The Italian Job. If you haven't, look at it. But selling Onana for the money that they sold him for, what was it, like 60 million?
70. Was it?
70, I don't know. So I think I was saying 60 million this morning. And buying Yann Sommer for 6 million has to be the coup of the century. Has to be. Look what Sommer done last night. Look what Sommer. Look, he let
Over
in,
the two
he let
legs.
in 6 goals over 2 legs. So maybe he didn't do that well, but
I think they faced a lot more shots from Barca. And I think they actually defended well, but as you say, they're very potent going forward, Barca are. And I think maybe their midfield, Inter's midfield, got overrun at times with Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan. I think they wouldn't be, for me, the best part of Inter's team. I think going forward, Inter are great. Martinez, I actually don't. I still don't rate Martinez. If I'm honest,
Okay.
I rate Thuram more. I think Thuram was excellent over the 2 legs.
yeah.
As a hold-up player. I actually thought Taremi was good when he came on.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Yeah. I think at that point it's like a siege mentality. It's like, look, we have to really dig in now and fucking kind of.
And Vertesi was a great cameo.
Vertesi comes on, he scores the winner, and I don't know if you've seen the commentary on Prime Sports or whatever, Amazon. I think it was John Champion, God bless him. He's done this for a long time. Him and Alan Shearer, but they fucking, you would not know that it was a fourth goal in a 4-3 classic. The way they commentate on it compared to the BT what we were watching earlier, it's such a big moment.
I think they wanted Barca to win.
Yeah, maybe so. I think the allure of, I would have wanted Barca in a final if on the other leg it was Real Madrid PSG. If the chance of Barca Real in the final was there, I'd be more up for it. But I do like Inzaghi. I do like this Inter team. And they had the story of 2 years ago being in the final against City and losing. So it's nice to see a team stick with a manager, kind of stick it through. And you know, they haven't changed a whole lot. I wouldn't say either. Like the bones of their team is more or less the same. You know, the likes of Dumfries is there, and
Man, they've profited 100 million in 5 years.
It's a demonstration of how a club should be run. You know.
Yeah.
And they're at the pinnacle of European football now. And I'd fancy them to beat Arsenal or PSG, to be honest.
Yeah, I would too. I think they work so hard, and I feel like Inzaghi's always trying to find a one-up on the other coach. Like, even the second leg, I think he recognised the weakness of that high line and he went for it.
Yeah.
And they got the 2 goals early. They sit back in. I think when they sit back in, Barca picked them off. I don't think they were good when they sat back in.
Yeah.
I think the first leg they were very good when they played it past their high line, got out. But when they sit in against Barca, or when they did sit in, I think they were quite vulnerable. And I think
it's a dangerous game to play, man, the high line.
it is. And I think Inzaghi recognised that in the second leg.
Yeah.
He recognised that the left back was vulnerable against Yamal. He's always looking. For me, he's always looking. He's always trying.
Even look at the first leg. The first goal in the first leg comes from a switch from left to right into Dumfries. I think was the one running on, or could have been Thuram. And Barca just played a high line, and Inter are in immediately. And then obviously Thuram's the one who finished off with a back heel, like little flick. It's Inzaghi's such an intelligent coach, you know, and I think
Man, I would love him at Chelsea.
could you see him going to Chelsea after if he was to win the
I don't
Champions
think
League?
he'll go to Chelsea, but I'd love a coach like him at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think
Hey,
he's.
see, Maresca's still young in his tenure though, Kieran.
I think it's a winner's mentality he has.
Yeah,
and I
potentially.
like the brand of football he plays. I know some people hate it, but
I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. I
yeah.
think defensive stability, you know, go forward, hit on the break. I think
Yeah.
you're laughing. The other semi-final, Kieran, PSG and Arsenal. What do we think? I suppose.
I think it's up in the air. I really. It's hard to call what Arsenal. Which Arsenal shows up? Is it the Arsenal in the first leg against Real Madrid? You know, we seen them just go gun ho, press up high, pick Real Madrid off. Everyone was up for it. You know, even Marino, who scored the goal, was up for it. Even Odegaard was up for it, who's been very poor this season. Are we going to see that brand of Arsenal? Or are we going to see an Arsenal like we've seen against Bournemouth, like we've seen the first leg, kind of timid, and PSG picking them off? It's hard to call, but I think PSG go through with that advantage and they're at home as well. I think if you look at it bluntly like that, I can't see past PSG.
Arsenal did have that performance last week, or sorry, not last week, in the last round against Madrid, away from home, where, they were, what were they, 2-0 up, 3-0 up, going to Madrid, weren't they? The game was probably out of reach at that point. And anyways, I think we only probably clinged on to the hope that Madrid could pull it back because they are, Real Madrid. Arsenal, I do believe, have the ability to win here. I do believe that they... I don't think it would be the most shocking thing in the world if they were to somehow navigate their way through to the final here. It's only 1-0. Yeah. And they had chances in the home leg.
I think Calafiori's back for them as well. I think they definitely are missing Gabriel besides Saliba. I think Kivior's a bit vulnerable.
I do think he's done well, Kivior, though.
He has, but...
it is a drastic drop from Gabriel to Kivior. Don't get me wrong, it is. And I think their league form kind of demonstrates that as well.
And Saka as well is a big factor. Like, he wasn't much of a factor in the first leg. I think they need to find a way to get him in the game tonight because he was just very, very quiet against Mendes last week. And they can't have that happen.
I think Mendes deserves an element of credit here, though, because he done the same against Salah. And
he's a good left back.
He's a very good left back. Very kind of, hard-nosed grafter. Like, I see where you're coming from, but I do think Mendes deserves an element of credit here as well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Do you see it going on the other way than PSG going through, or?
I'm calling PSG through. 1 or 2-0 tonight, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I think our predictions are usually wrong. I think we predicted Barca and Inter to go to 0-0 on penalties over 2 legs. Couldn't have been more wrong. I think I predicted Barcelona to go through. I think I predicted Arsenal to go through as well. Or did I?
I think I did Inter and PSG.
No, I don't think you did.
I did Inter, definitely.
You definitely did Inter. I think you might have said Arsenal though. Just to be contrary to you, I'll say Arsenal will go through. Part of me doesn't really believe it because I think PSG have a lot going forward. But if you go off Liverpool's performance in Paris a couple of months ago, in another highly contested game, I think that game in Paris was very similar to the game in the Emirates last week. There was 1 goal between them. I think Arsenal have a very good chance going through. Still, I don't think it's dead in the water yet. Whether they beat Inter Milan is another case altogether. But I do think
PSG are a beautiful team, though, Adam.
They are.
I would love to see PSG.
Desiree Doué, what a player!
I think they're the best team.
Kvaratskhelia,
the best teams in it. I would love to see in the final.
You see, I think if PSG were to win the Champions League, it would be the death of football as we know. It'd be the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, but that's a political undertone there. Like, am
I wrong?
If you're talking about them as a football team, strictly, I think what Luis Enrique has done with this PSG team, transform them from egos in the dressing room to a team that plays incredible football.
Yeah.
And I would say it has nothing to do, we've seen them spend loads of money. I would say it has nothing to do this time of money. I think money helps, but...
Money talks.
I think some of the players are just growing into themselves, like Doué and Barcola and such.
I think one of the players is Kvaratskhelia, who they brought in January, and I'm not saying that to be contrary, but I agree with you. I think they're one of the best sides in Europe at the minute. But I do think it's an interesting point, just given where they've come from and stuff in recent times. But look, I think it's going to be a great game tonight. I think that's one thing we're probably in for.
Champions League, man.
Score prediction, Kieran, you said 2-0 PSG?
2-0, yeah.
I'll go 2-1 Arsenal and Arsenal on penalties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not putting money on this because I'll probably be wrong. Speaking of Arteta, just really briefly, he spoke during the week about almost claiming Liverpool's league win to be of luck and right place, right time. I don't know if you've seen this.
Are you paraphrasing here, or what did he say?
No, it's I'm not getting the full quote up, but he did say something along the lines of Liverpool have won the title with less points than we had in the last 2 seasons, but with the points from the last 2 seasons, we have won the Premier League. And at the point after 35 games, Arsenal in the last 2 seasons have had less points than Liverpool do now. So Arteta's point has been proven redundant. Do you think he gets sacked if they don't win the Champions League? I think he's too long in the tooth now. I can't see him staying.
See,
I can't see him being kept.
I'm trying to look at this from a non-biased perspective, because if he was the manager of Chelsea, I would say he needs to be sacked after this if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
But because Arsenal are happy and content with, good finishes in the league, you have to look at it from their perspective.
It's a loser mentality, man.
Well,
it's such a bad mentality.
Call it what you want.
Call it what you want.
But if he gets second in the league or top four,
it's not good enough. I don't care.
I can see him staying. I don't think they're not looking to sack this man.
No, it's not good enough. Absolutely not good enough.
And listen, if I was to make an argument for Arsenal, right, other than Declan Rice, who they've signed this year, they haven't really improved the squad in any way. I would say they bought Timber. He's been okay. Roy's been a good investment, but the midfield, they haven't really improved it.
Yeah.
Since he came in.
I just find it like I don't know how Arsenal fans are happy. Like Arteta's talking about circumstance. Arteta's essentially saying Liverpool were lucky to win the league this season, which I think is, we had this debate last week. I think he's wrong regardless. There's no luck winning the league title. There's maybe lucky moments and stuff, but there's no luck in it. You have to be very consistent. But again, point for another day. Arsenal are going to probably finish third again this season. And before Arsenal were doing all this, so before City were, City and Liverpool essentially, and then I was Arsenal second, and then they're going to finish second again. It's really not good enough. Like they've seen Liverpool essentially come in and overtake them and win the league, and it's like Arsenal are back to square one, because next season, Kieran, Chelsea will be better, United will be better, Spurs will be better, we're definitely going to be better, City will be better. Like Arsenal are going to find it very hard to win a league again. They will never have had a better time to do it than the past few years, and they haven't done it.
Well, I don't think that Arteta can't come out and say Liverpool have been lucky when he doesn't know what that luck is. He can't turn around and say, "Oh, lucky title for Liverpool," when he hasn't won a title. Like that comes across arrogant.
Well, he is arrogant,
and it comes across, ignorant as well.
I'd be very interested to see, do they give Liverpool a guard of honour? Because I feel like they're the type of club that wouldn't, out of spite. I really feel like Arteta would be like, nah, fuck that, we're not doing it.
Speaking of guard of honour, Adam, Chelsea played Liverpool the weekend, and Chelsea gave Liverpool the guard of honour. Mm-hmm. And Liverpool gave Chelsea 3 points. Thanks very much. Yeah,
I mean, you seem quite happy.
I'm delighted.
I've no comment on it. I'm neither here nor there with it. The league's over, so it's hardly unsurprising to expect a performance like that from Liverpool with the changes made and stuff. I think Slot's he said himself he's gonna rotate the squad from here on in. So I think Chase needs to play like one more game to get a medal, stuff like that. So I think it puts Chelsea in a good position for Champions League now, doesn't it? Which I think is vital for yous.
I think we're very lucky the way the fixtures fell. I feel if Liverpool didn't win the title last week, then they'd put out the strong squad.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to play them full strength. And
full strength with no European football during the week as well, and
with something to play for. And I feel it could have been a different outcome. And I think we're getting lucky with United in that regard as well. They'll play us with less strength as well.
Yeah.
So I think Chelsea are getting... And Maresca will be blessing his bald head that he's getting so lucky.
If he's to get Chelsea top 4, what would your thoughts on him staying put, I suppose?
I think he plays methodical, boring football.
Okay.
But I think there's some very exciting players in that team that are developing into very good players. I think the likes of Madueke is full of potential.
Madueke is flourishing at the minute. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Full of potential.
Yeah.
If he can get the best out of Sancho, he's onto something as well. Jackson, I still think has a lot to offer in this team. People are saying he's not good enough to lead a line. Whatever,
Is there people?
blah, blah, blah.
I haven't seen this course because I actually quite like Jackson. To be fair, I think I like a striker who's a bit chaotic, who can, cause problems and stuff. I am a fan of that type of player, and he does score as well. It's not like he doesn't score no goals. But do you think for Chelsea to get to that next level, to be competing next season, and bear in mind there was a point in the season where people were saying Chelsea might be in a title race. Do you think they need a new forward or?
Well, they need lots of things. Like they probably need a new manager to compete for a title. But
you think, you're really sour on Maresca.
It's not that I don't listen. I think Maresca's a decent manager. He'll get you top 4 every season. He'll play some nice football sometimes, but I don't know if he has the killer instinct to win a title. I don't know if he has the dog in him. I could be completely wrong. I think some of the players are really, really good. I really like Caicedo. I really like Enzo. Lavia, if you can keep him fit. He has a really good squad full of potential. If he's to win the league, I think he needs a new centre half. That's.
Do you restart that? Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. He needs a new centre half that's experienced and that knows how to do it at the top level. Because I don't think Colwell's good enough. I don't think Chalobah's good enough to win a title. I think he needs a goalkeeper. I think that's problem sorts itself if he brings Petrovic back. Petrovic is one of the leading goalkeepers in Europe at the moment statistically. For Strasbourg.
Where's Strasbourg?
In France.
No, I know. We're in the league, are they?
4th or 5th.
Yeah,
in
not
France.
bad, I suppose. Yeah.
And he's one of the leading.
France.
Listen,
funny boy.
They're in the semi-final of the French team. Are in the semi-final of the Champions League.
Oh no, I'm not having a go. I was asking where are they in the league, and you were like, oh, France.
But I think that problem sorts itself, and then the striker.
Are you're happy with the fullback situation and stuff like that? I assume.
I don't think it's the worst situation. I think those 3 problems are the biggest problems: the striker, the centre back, and the goalie.
The goalie, yeah.
It's the swine.
But the midfielders are there.
Like the midfield.
Yeah.
Like the midfield to keep them fit. But I think they did a really good job at Liverpool on Sunday, by the way. I think you have to give credit as well. You can't just say, oh, Liverpool showed up to the fold. Because that would be giving Liverpool no credit as well.
Yeah, this is a
professional team. But, yeah, good win. Hopefully Chelsea can get over the line.
I'd be very surprised if they didn't get over the line at this point. To be honest.
Yeah, I just worry for that Forest away and Newcastle away game.
Forest away is kind of that's the last day of the season. It would be very Chelsea to lose that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's the last real thing with jeopardy in that league, Adam. Other than that, there's nothing really other than Arteta's moaning statements about finishing second again.
What do you think about the teams coming up next season? So Leeds and Burnley. Do you see them staying put or do you see them going down?
I think Leeds stay up. If Leeds sack the manager, which I think there's rumours.
There is rumours. I think they need a whole new squad, man. To be honest, like I don't think maybe Tanaka in midfield, the likes of Bogle, I don't think he's good enough. Like Ampadu, Joe Rogan.
I think Burnley could stay up as well.
No, I truly don't believe either of them stay up.
Parker plays a brand of football where he's hard to beat, so I could see them maybe staying up. And whoever comes up in the playoff, I think, goes down. I don't like Frankie Lamps could theoretically get to Coventry up to the Premier League, and I think they go down.
They would go straight down. It'd be good to have Coventry back in the Premier League, though. For a lot of Premier League purists, that'd be good.
What do you think? Do you think they all go down?
I think they all go back down. Yeah, I think the football pyramid's around. To be honest, I don't think there's enough sustainability. I don't think the players for the likes of Leeds and Burnley are good enough to stay up. I don't think Parker's a good enough manager. For Burnley, I don't think Farke's good enough for Leeds either. Like, Bielsa brings Leeds up a couple of years ago and has these players playing some of the best football of their lives. I don't think Farke has the ability to do that, and the fact that he's brought clubs down before represents that. The fact that Leeds are looking for a new manager probably represents that. So, look, Ian's a Leeds fan. And Mark Sweeney's a Leeds fan. Like, there's Leeds fans in my life that I'd be happy for if they would stay up.
Yeah.
Because there's always that bit of needle between the clubs and, you know, like a bit like us with Liverpool and Chelsea. But I just can't envision it, unfortunately.
And say if they were to sack Farke and bring in a experienced Premier League manager.
Who is that though?
Who is that?
Do you know? Someone said Jose Mourinho to me.
That would be incredible.
Fucking hell, man.
Jesse March.
I wish that I had Jesse March.
But say they got someone. All right, I'm not gonna speculate as to who. And say they brought in 5-6 key quality players.
No, it's still the answer.
No, it's the answer.
No, it's still the answer. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I think the leap from the Championship to the Premier League is as big as it's ever been in terms of player quality, and I just think the way it's working with teams constantly coming up and going down is just. I can't see anything other than that. Like Luton are playing League One football next year.
The law of averages, right? In my opinion,
here we go.
Keeps one team up from the Championship next year.
The laws of averages this season sent 3 down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is 3 down last season, 3 down this season. Next season there can't be 3 down. Surely it can't be 3 years.
I think so. Yeah.
That would be serious.
And it'd be an indictment of the way it's being done over there. But I think that's the thing. I think we're gonna eventually reach a place where I think Burnley might stay up because fucking JJ Watt is the owner of Burnley, and he's probably going to spend a shit ton of money. Leeds have good owners as well, don't they? Something to do with Red Bull or whatever. But I think we're going to be in a league where Wrexham and Birmingham are going to get up, and then they're just going to get off themselves. They're going to build like the Super League. I think 20 clubs will just leave.
Monopolise.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
they'll all be American owners. They'll all want.
Place,
but I feel like that's what it's going towards. Unfortunately, I feel like that's what it's going towards. And these big clubs that we love, Liverpool and Chelsea, the likes of Man United, Man City, they were very quick to do it a couple of years ago in COVID when people had nothing to do.
And they're all American owners now.
All American owners except for City, but they're all profitable as ever. You know, I have no faith in the Premier League anymore, and we've just fucking won the thing, Kieran. I should be buzzing, and I am buzzing to an extent to see Liverpool next season, to see where they go. But it's just an indictment of it all. I can see it being monopolised and going off into itself, and then there'll be no promotion or anything anymore. Unfortunately, I know that sounds grim. I'm sorry.
No, it's a thing that I'm sure many intelligent people are thinking at the moment who are seeing these things happen, and it's just unfortunately it's a reality that economically as well, life in general has gotten more about money. You need more money.
I thought you were dipping into a deep depression.
Well, no, I'm just kind of saying it as it is. Money has lost its value.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And it's not just us feeling that. I'd say millionaires like AJ Watt and Tom Brady are thinking, how do I make as much money as possible?
Yeah. And, while also being as profitable as ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the grim way of the world is it's going to continue because it has to continue for them, or else
it can.
The boat stops.
Can it get any worse? It can. This is why I love the League of Ireland, Kieran. And you made your way to the League of Ireland on Friday evening. Bohs playing Waterford. I actually feel like you're the bad luck charm because they've been playing so well, and you found yourself. Shout out to Gary Val for lending Kieran his ticket for the Waterford game. What did you think, Kieran?
I was actually fuming coming out of it because it was Bohs were so frustrating to watch. Oh God, like genuinely, I put the 3 games they've won down to luck, and I know that's a crazy thing.
Fuck, man.
The 3 games.
That is an incredible thing to say.
It's not incredible when you look at.
I'm sorry, I did not expect this from you, but come on, continue. I'm loving this.
It's not incredible when you look at the source of where these goals are coming from. late crosses into the box, late hoofs into the box, late corners. You know, I think Sean Gretton scores the last 2 goals in the last game. He's a centre back for
I
us.
think he scored against Pats as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a centre back.
Yeah.
So,
but Kieran, to play devil's advocate here, and I really don't want to be on the side of Bohs when I say this, but they, to their credit, they've won these games. You know, there's it can continue. It can. Oh, it can.
It can't continue.
The late Sean, man, there's a lot to be said for it. There's a lot to be in terms of motivation, in terms of confidence. There's a lot to be said for winning games late on, because it's like a fighter a boxer who specialises in going 12 rounds and winning on decision. The longer a game goes on and Bohs are still in it, you would fancy them to nick something now, and that's a frightening thing. You know, like if Pats were playing Bohs anytime soon, they'd want to be 2 or 3 up with 10 minutes left, because if they're not, Bohs can hit them where it hurts, and they've shown that in the past few games.
Yeah, well, the game against Waterford, right? The ref, by the way, was terrible. He looks a bit like Andrew Tate. He was.
Every ref is bad, man, in the league. Every ref. There's not one good ref, I don't think.
Bald bearded guy, and there was one point. It was the highlight of the game for me. Bohs player picks it up in the edge of the box, and the ref's arse is in front of him, and the ref has his back turned, and he's just in the way, and the fans are like cheering him, and he doesn't get out of the way for ages, and he has to stop the game. Like, you just can't move out of the way.
Yeah,
and not looking at the ball or whatsoever.
Well,
he restarts the game, and he wasn't thinking of giving the ball back to Bohs even. He was thinking of putting it in for a drop ball, and the fans just started booing him. And it's like that was the highlight of the game. Other than that, Bohs didn't have a chance. The 2 goals that they conceded is one screamer. A Contunde or something, I think, scores it. Right?
I think Olenenko, I think his name.
I'm not sure. He was terrific in the game, by the way. He overran Bohs midfield.
Yeah, he did it to Shels on Monday as well.
The other goal conceded is a goalkeeper mistake, and at the back brutal as well. And the goal Bohs scored is another defender. I think Flores scores it. Jesus, they're brutal at him.
Olayinka was the guy who scored.
Olayinka, what a goal!
Yeah, great finish.
But
great strike.
They can't. When a Bohs player gets the ball in centre back position, they try and play out through the goalkeeper, but then no one comes to collect it through the middle. So it's left with them recycling it out wide, crossing the ball in, to which the Waterford players read that.
And Waterford defenders love that.
Yeah.
Particularly because they came to Shels on Monday, and the interim manager, God bless him, he's won 3 and lost 1. Probably a bit hard done by to not be keeping the job, to be honest. I don't know if you know your man, John Coleman. He's the guy from the FA Cup. That time is like, I'm rapidly falling out of love with football. He's now the Waterford manager, so he's the guy they're bringing in. But
he's actually done a good job.
Well, that's not. Well, he hasn't come in yet. The interim manager's still there, but Coleman is the guy coming in for Waterford. But they did the exact same to us on Monday. And to be fair, the way Shels play, especially with the fucking lack of centre halves at the minute, is with the midfielders playing centre back. We do play out from the back.
Yeah.
But Waterford, as soon as you get into a position where you're going to cross it, Radkowski, Leahy, they're going to head that ball away. That's what they're built for.
Yeah.
Radkowski's fucking huge, man. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's ginormous. So look at Waterford, to their credit, they've done to us what they did to Bohs, and then Bohs going to win on Monday. So the title race is really heating up. I think Drogs are still top on 23, 24 maybe.
24, yeah.
And then Shels or Waterford are on 18 points in 8th place.
It's very, very tight.
It's very tight. It's a great league, man. It's a great league.
But I can't see Bohs getting anywhere near this year. I know that's probably going to sound like I'm just being pessimistic. But I think they've gotten away with a few times. And I don't think the luck will run out soon. And they'll have more outcomes like the Waterford game. Because, I don't know, it actually depressed me going to watch that. It was a hard watch.
Who were you with?
I was with James.
Slim Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a hard watch, man.
Yeah,
It's a hard one.
I think what I find with it is, and it's obviously different. I've been doing this for a long time. And even the game on Monday, losing to Watford, it is like when you lose, you do kind of like compared to Liverpool losing on Sunday. I didn't really give a rat's. With Shels dropping points recently, it is tough. Like we went up to Derry on Friday, and the reason why you do these things is the likes of the bus up, like ourselves, Adam Fahey, ACF, like good lads, and you're having great crack, and you're like, fuck. So we might.
Oh no, the crack
you're
was
like,
good. I'm talking about the game.
Yeah.
The game
But
was
you're
brutal.
like, we might win here. We might, we might get something from Derry, and then you kind of hype yourselves up, and then the game kicks off. Like, oh fuck, we're getting beaten here.
Yeah.
And it's the same on Monday with like Dowling and Amy and stuff. And there was a point in the game where John Martin kind of does like an overhead kick, and it looks like the ball's dropping into the back of the net, and me and Jer started running as if we scored the goal, and then obviously it goes wide, and the face on me and Jer, we were like, my chins were on the ground. I was like, oh no, I thought that was in. The stuff like that kind of keeps you going. So yeah, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it, at the end of the day. But we play Pats on Friday. It's a very big game. I wouldn't be surprised if Shels turn up on Friday. We have a habit of turning up in the bigger games, which is kind of worrying in and of itself.
Actually, there was a bit of excitement at the end as well when the Moose came on. There was a bit of buzz around the ground. That was good.
Yeah, Moose.
And he actually had a few chances, but he was nowhere near. I don't think he's going to shed that way anytime soon either.
So seemingly there was a scout from Norwich over watching them on Friday for the Watford game. So that's why you got a few minutes. Seemingly now, I don't know how true that is.
Moving on.
Right, Kieran. We're gonna move on now to. It's actually been quite a good episode so far, I think. And moving on now to the creme de la creme. Get it out. I'm a bit of a mixed bag this week. Funny questions, silly questions. They're all silly questions. Starting off with Dave, who says, how many Ian Fallons would it take to kill a gorilla? Infinite, I would say.
Well, if it's 100 normal men, it's probably 200 Ian Fallons.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Alright. That's such a fucking harsh thing. Dave's fucking throwing out stick this week like nothing else. He goes, is the Gary Val Fantrax bottle job the biggest in the competition's history? It is quite big, to be fair, Gar. I won't lie to you. I don't know what you're playing at.
Did he lose to me?
He lost to you, but I think he's also kind of victimising Jane or Woody for not playing his full team against Jamie and the like stuff like this. I think Gary's head loss is incredible to see.
Yeah.
Another season not winning for Gary Vav. Did he win last year? No, he won last year. Last one, and this is aimed at you. Sorry, Kieran. Dave says, has Kieran recovered from the spanking in Elm Green? Now, I'm not going to lie, right? We know what Elm Green is, and Dave obviously knows what Elm Green is. If you're listening to this and you don't know what Elm Green is, this just sounds like Dave was spanking you for no reason at all. He beat you at golf, Kieran, today. How does that feel?
It feels good. It was good to get spanked by Dave.
Whoa.
And fair play to him. He played very well. Good to see Dave hitting the ball very well.
Yeah. I think you're being genuine here as well, actually. Yeah. Mark Sweeney Leeds United fan says, define a yo-yo club. So Mark was on to me last week about comments I made about Leeds. And one of the things he said was that Leeds aren't a yo-yo club. Oh. I kind of believe they are, Kieran.
I kind of think that's a bit of a myth, the yo-yo club. I don't think teams would intentionally go down.
No, I don't think it's intentional, but I think they're too good for the Championship, but too not good enough for the Premier League.
So that's how you define it?
That's how I would define it, yeah. Clubs like Burnley, clubs like Leeds, Sheffield United, probably Ipswich next season. The likes of them. Would you not agree?
Well, if we're taking that argument into the equation, is there such thing as not being a yo-yo club in the Championship?
Or like Leicester will probably come, Southampton, the likes of them, I think they're yo-yo clubs. And I included Leeds in that.
Well, is there such
and
thing
Mark took offence to that.
Is there such thing as not being a yo-yo club?
Like just a well-run club.
Yeah.
Surely if you're ran well enough, you will sustain yourself in the Premier League, you know? That would be my argument to that.
When was the last team that done that? Brentford, probably.
Brentford, I would say, yeah. Alton says, opinions on Duff versus Bradley saga. Is it laughable or good PR or a mix of the two? I think any PR for the league is good in a way. I think it's a bit of a. I think Duff had a problem with what Bradley said regarding, I think, Karen McEnroy. And I think he took Duff's character into it, and then Duffer kind of hit back at him and didn't shake his hand at Rovers and stuff like that the other week, which is, beef, isn't great, but there is beef. But these are the two box office managers in the league at the minute. And I think it's creating a bit of buzz. So yeah, I would say.
What about Alan Reynolds?
He's doing a good job, isn't he, Bohs? I've long said I've liked Reynolds for a long time.
What about Stephen Kenny?
What about him?
Is he box office?
Nah. No, you get more out of wet cardboard than him. He says, if you had to tip some footballers for the 100 men versus one gorilla, who are you nominating? Who am I nominating? Good question.
You say.
I would probably say
Akinfenwa
from a League of Ireland point of view. Paddy Barrett, he's an absolute man mountain. The Dutch fellow who came out for Waterford the other day, I don't know what his name is, but he's fucking huge. He was genuinely about 6'9", I'd say. What's his name? Where is he? Martin Powells. He is. Can I get his height there? 200 centimeters high, whatever that means. Quite tall.
About 6'6".
Who else? Someone like Vinnie Jones. I think Vinnie Jones would do well against a gorilla. And let's be real for a second. A gorilla is beating up 100 men. I don't see this fucking argument at all. You believe you believe 100 men beat up a gorilla, don't you?
Well, if we look at it from a scientific point of view, okay, and this is the point that I've seen throughout the week as well.
It's such a stupid argument.
I think a gorilla gets worn out by the time it gets to the 90th, 91st man. I think the gorilla's out of breath. So I generally think the gorilla actually dies of a heart attack before it gets them.
I thought you were going to say the last 8 men just beat the shit out of the gorilla.
Well, that could happen after it has a heart attack.
Oh god. If you could be a fly on the wall, what person or celeb are you listening in on first?
Person?
Like what famous person or celebrity? I've long said it. I'd love to go for a pint with Diego Maradona. So I wouldn't want to snoop in his conversations, but I'd love to be just with the man when he's alive. Or Eamon Dunphy.
Mine might be a bit controversial, so I don't really want to say it.
Go on, say it and bleep it out.
Let's just say, Ari, I'll say it politically. I'd go back to the historical political figures.
Okay, let's forget about it. Alden says, what's one thing in life you could never give up? Fuck. I think the sad thing in today's society is everyone's probably going to say their mobile phones.
Coffee.
Yeah, I'll go with coffee.
I love
coffee or I love a packet of Fishman's Friends. Moulton says, would you rather manage or play in the world's best football team?
There's cough medicine now, Adam, by the way. Careful now.
Fisherman's Friends?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Moulton says, would you rather manage or play in the world's best football team? I would say manage, because I think it often always comes down to the manager.
I loved playing goal.
Yeah, you were not bad in goal, actually. Do you remember the 5-side that you were the first ever man the match winner?
And
then you nearly fucking decapitated Jerry Cullen's leg. But you did really well.
Happy, was he?
Gary sends a picture. I'm not going to read it out. He says, "Can you explain why there's a Shels fan telling some fella on Twitter his curry chips are shy?" So there's the fella who runs the food vendor in Talca tweets about his curry chips like almost aggressively, like every week, and they are quite nice, to be fair. But I think some people are kind of sick of him tweeting about it, and I don't know. There was some argument the other day, and one of the replies was, "Your curry chips are shy," and then it's just spiraled out of control from there. I think he's had a bit of the curry chip guy has had a bit of a backlash at the Shels fans, and then the Shels fans aren't really taking too kindly to it. But his curry chips are nice, but they're not as nice as he says. There would be my synopsis. Gary says, thoughts on Ethan Ampadu's behaviour. I don't know, have you seen this?
Oh, I've seen the video, yeah.
I think it's really peculiar.
Yeah.
It's alright amongst the boys. Like, it'd be alright for us to be carried on like that, but not in front of...
Really not, though.
Yeah. Not in front of families with kids and stuff. I thought it was a bit weird. Is that fair? You're
too much to drink. He is Welsh, though, to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Gary Vav says, is Cran back supporting Chelsea now after beating Liverpool?
I never
Good question, Gary.
didn't support him, Gary. I don't know where you're coming from with that. I just was very cynical of the way they're playing football.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me happy. Or that doesn't make me not happy that they didn't beat Liverpool. You have to celebrate those moments, you know.
So, yes or no?
Well, Chelsea beat the champions. We beat the champions. So, of course I'm happy.
Very true.
We are the champions in that.
These last few questions are fucking diabolical. Oh my god. We'll start off with Ronan. He says, if you had to compare a football manager to a vicious dictator around the world, who would it be? For example, Arteta would be Hitler. Like, what the fuck, man? I actually don't even know where to go with this.
Inzaghi's Benito Mussolini then.
Because
he's Italian.
Okay. Who would Diego Simeone be?
He'd be Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro.
Or sorry, no, not Fidel Castro.
Oh, what's your man's name?
The
Cuban guy.
That is Fidel Castro.
Is it Fidel Castro? Yeah.
Who would that be? Fidel Castro.
Is it Fidel Castro?
Yeah. Would that be Simeone? Yeah, it might be, yeah.
Yeah.
And then who's...
Che Guevara. Who's Che Guevara? Is that not the Cuban guy?
Che Guevara was a freedom fighter.
I know, yeah, but like that's who I want Diego Simeone to be. Fuck these dictators, man. Diego Simeone, Che Guevara. There you go.
And then who else? Hansi Flick. Would that be closer to
No.
Arteta's?
No, we're not going to say that. Ian says, fuck, marry, kill, a gorilla, a moose, and Sam Bone. Jesus Christ, man. I don't want to answer that question.
I'd...
Well, you're not going to kill a gorilla, so I suppose kill a moose. Like, I love animals. I'm not fighting against the ISPCA or whatever they're called. I kind of refuse to answer this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ian says 100 Adzis versus one massive Kiron, or 100 Kirons versus one massive. I think if it was 100 me's against one you, we'd beat you quite easily. But if it was 100 yous against one gigantic version of me, I'd be gassed by about 15 you. Do you know? Like, I'd be bollocks after about 15 of you, whereas I think 100 of me's could beat you quite easily. Is that fair?
What would you do to the 15 of me?
Probably beat you up and then probably have a heart attack like the gorilla. Oh, this is really bad, man. Jesus, the podcast is going so well until these questions. Last question, and let's kind of end on a nice way. Gary Vav says, away day to Wrexham next year and meet Bootlegger. Well, Bootlegger follows Gary on Instagram.
We have to get him to follow us.
We have to get him to follow us.
Yeah.
I'd be up for Wrexham. I watched your man Rob McElhenney on classic football shorts. I don't know if you ever watched this, Ellis Platten, but they buy classic shorts, whatever. It's quite insightful. But I used to fucking hate Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds just because I'm not mad on teams bankrolling leagues and getting success off the back of it. Yes, that was the point I was going to make. So I do kind of... I don't want to jump on the Wrexham bandwagon, but I kind of do at the same time.
Yeah, they don't seem like they're typical American owners. They seem kind of sound.
Sound enough, yeah.
And involved in the community as well.
This is it, yeah. This is it.
But, yeah, it's good to see them go up, actually.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Charlton are in the playoff final, because if they are, we'll be doing a away days vlog. Yeah, I feel like that was quite funny there at the end. This is a really good podcast going on this week. Yeah. This is why we love it. This is why we love it. And this is why we love you. And be sure to like the post on Instagram. Please share it as well. It's good for our growth. TikTok. I had a TikTok recorded last week and I forgot to post it, so I'll post it this week for this pod. By the time you watch this as well, Arsenal will either be in the Champions League final or out. Or out, yeah. So if you're an Arsenal fan. So let's do it. Champions League final, Inter Milan and Arsenal. Okay, now you say the same. Inter and PSG. Inter and PSG. And we'll cut whichever one. No, you're not going to cut out. But yeah, so we hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. Be good to yourselves. Enjoy the sun while it's still shining. And we'll leave it there so. Ciao, belly.